Yo, it's Kevin Chase. This is my weekly recap and outlook for DAX, the German index. So let's just get straight into it. Sorry about that. So if you go to the weekly candle, we opened at 23,354.4 and closed at 22.22212.1. Bearish week this week. And if we put my phone into disturb and go into the daily, we can see we had a bullish, and then triple bearish. So yeah, before we get into this, breaking this down, first things first, go check the news. We had no news Monday, Tuesday, or Friday. Wednesday, we had PPI, FOMC statement at 6 p.m. And then Thursday, 12:30 p.m. unemployment claims. Obviously, it's at 12:30, 1 hour previously. 1:15 p.m. monetary policy statement, and then ECB press conference at 1:45, which is again usually at 2:45, but then we're just working an hour behind because of daylight savings, which is really annoying. I'll get into it within the week, but hopefully we're on what are we on now, 20th of March, so 22nd. So there's only one more week left before times all go back to normal. I can't wait. I've also been realizing London's been acting up, and 3 draws got hit. Nice sells above the level. So yeah, let's just get into London session on Monday. So before I talk about that, so obviously market opened, leaving less than 10 pips of this draw. So I was pretty confident this draw is getting hit this week. So that's nice. We see that's happening a lot where we edge the low and then we come back down and we take it. The exact same thing here again on Friday. So that's nice. I will talk about Friday. Friday was probably one of the cleanest days. And we had 2 Wyckoffs this week on the lower time frame. So on Monday, if we get into 8 a.m., you can see one thing I did realize again, like I said, was 7 a.m. price did start to move. Here, high of the day got taken at 6:45. This is a purge because this is a Wyckoff spike. Why? Because we have an overbought swing, BC buying climax, AR, ST, ST, and then a nice little purge. It comes straight down to the beginning of the buying climax, which is this straight move up with small bottom mix. This one has like no bottom make, and it is a 45+ candle. So yeah, that's nice. How could you have caught this? It's pretty simple. On the 15-minute, it just taps into this 15-minute inverse. On the 30-minute, I think it was just inverse as well. Yep, alongside a fair value gap. And the timing was pretty good. You could have got higher the hour at 8:10, and then we just pretty much came down to the draw, which would have been here. And then we reacted off of just a 15-minute bullish rally up, deep OTE as well, and that held as not low of the day. I was going to say low of the day, but we started to reverse around 10 a.m. which the 4-hour candle does open at 10 and not 11. So this 4-hour candle did just open, and we were in a deep discount, of course, and we came for high of the day. High of the day here is at 6:45, which is improbable timing. If it was like 6:30 or even 5, it'd be more probable just based on data. So that's nice. This got respected nicely. If you go into the lower time frames on the 3-minute, you can see as soon as this 10 a.m. candle opened, this new 4-hour candle, we just kind of respected this bullish fair value gap. This just held as low. The 4-hour inverse this, give a nice tap into the middle of it actually, and then carry on going. So at 10:20 would have been a good time to enter on this 4-hour candle. Shift higher there, 200 points. And yeah, New York session started to reverse. Not really much I can say about New York session. No news as well, so that's nice. No news Monday. You would call this nice move up to high of the day. It was also a good opportunity at 11:30, I guess, probably just off of this inverse, which got tapped. This value up got tapped many times, got inverse, and then got tapped once more at 11:30. So not a bad time to enter there even. You get 100 points to high of the day. Good enough for me. That's pretty much the London session. New York session, we opened up, get a high at 2 a.m., which would have been 3 a.m. So yeah, 3 a.m. did hold as high of the day basically. So this 3 a.m. candle, which is actually the 2 a.m. candle, it's really annoying. I get it, but tapped OT off of it and just reversed. But for me, I was considering this as just equal highs, liquidity, trying like liquidity, Tory trades liquidity, I like to call it. But and then coming to Tuesday, he kind of just dumped during Asian, which is nice again because we rebalance this move up. If we go into the hourly, we didn't really have any fair value ups, which got respected, but we did have lows which got swept. For example, this 10-minute low, which is a weak low, didn't sweep anything. So we kind of just accumulation, manipulation, distribution, which is nice. Let me mark out AAM London session. You can see all it is a 30-minute bullish fair value up. I will mark this 30-minute bullish value up out right there. On the 15-minute, it is also a bullish value up. Plus, we had a break structure here. This could be an order block. Is it? Unless you want to consider this a sweep, it should be like a 1-minute sweep because that is pretty disgusting. Comes up, taps equilibrium, break structure. London opens, accumulates, come down. I think 9 a.m. was a good time to enter. 9:10, yep, just off this 5-minute inverse. And then again, 10 a.m. opens, comes back down to, I think, just a 15-minute inverse. So this inverse again, fairly gets tapped 4 times, 5 times, got inversed, gave a big push up, came back down, tapped it again, and then went up. And then this is again at 10:15. That's low the 4-hour, and then went for high of the day, which was at the time like here. Sorry, here, and then it got taken, and then here at 9:45. Again, if it was a bit earlier at 9 a.m., it'd be more probable for high of the day, but it just got on through and then got reacted off of this order block, and then carried on going. So New York session on Tuesday, again, not really much. Kind of just accumulated. High of the day at 3 p.m., which should have been 4 p.m. And then, yeah, so we kind of got like a push up off of this 15-minute bullish fair value up, but these weak lows just got swept. So yeah, that's pretty much Tuesday. So New York reversals were happening. We also have to consider we swept this high, which was Friday's high. So yeah, that was Tuesday, and then coming to Wednesday, we'd have news on Wednesday at exactly 12:30. We had PPI, so I'll mark this out actually. 12:30, and you can see that dumped. So yeah, we was above the levels at this point. I will talk about this. So see these wicks. This is obviously a high. I think it was a daily high. Let's just go on to the daily. Nope, let's just stay on the 4-hour. This is a strong high. Why? Because it breaks past this low. Obviously, this is a strong high because it sweeps this liquidity. Why is it a sweep? Because we didn't break above it. We didn't break past it. It's a sweep. It has run past the liquidity, so it's a sweep. Close below it. Swept this high, broke below this low. So in an order block, and it comes up to tap. Obviously, you can see the order block got tapped on Tuesday as well as Friday. Friday's high got swept, gave a little retracement into this 4-hour bullish rally up, and yeah, we kind of just pumped on open, respecting this 4-hour bullish rally up, and then we dumped. So yeah, I will talk about how you could have got this though. So these wicks show, I know people who draw support and resistance from wicks, and I low-key agree with it because wicks show that the price went all the way up here and then closed below. So this shows resistance in this area, 23.24k, and it's perfectly aligns to high of the week, and it's a nice point of control to high of the week. So yeah, also we had a big wick, rebalance wick, reset high of the day, and then we just dumped. But yeah, let's get into London session, which is 8 a.m. So again, not really much you can go off of. This is a big wick. You expect this to get rebalanced, which it did. And then we kind of just tapped that resistance, came back down, tapped OTE, 1120 OTE. Perfect OTE, 0.8, 0.786 lined up with that point of control. And we dumped. And this went straight to first drawn liquidity. This is biggest move you could have caught. And high time frame, it is pretty much OTE level. If I draw it from this high to this low, 0.786, really close to 0.8, pretty much 0.8. But yes, you get the point. it is OTE from this high. And you can see how we reacted off of that pretty nicely on the forward, especially off of this forward strong high. So let me just delete a bunch of lines. I did say I wanted buys if we broke past here. Obviously we didn't, which is nice to see. This is a strong high, and then we just dumped to the 2 draws that we had. So yeah, we did have news at 12, 12:30, and 6 p.m. So we just dumped the rest of the day. I think there was an opportunity here, maybe, perhaps. Inverse, 1 hour inverse here. Forward as well. But this is pretty late. So like not even that late, to be honest with you. It's just New York session. And then 3 p.m. opens, taps back into it, and then dumps. So yeah, levels low-key did hold on Wednesday. So this forward candle open is pretty nice. Taps into like golden pocket, OTE region, and then dumps. So yeah, and this runs -2, even probably -4. I don't have -4 active at the moment. We could do -4 here, sure, why not? Of course, runs -4 and then starts reverse. So yeah, first row gets hit. Low of the week was probably obviously not Monday. Reason being, we'd have to be very bullish for low of the week to hold on Monday. But yeah, that was a good trade. Coming into Thursday, Thursday was very clean for me because we were clear bias sells. We broke structure on the 4 hour, the 1 hour. This is a clean break structure. All of these lows were swept. We left behind multiple fair value ups. Small one here, one big one here, big one here, one here, and yeah. This is also auto block because you draw it from this low, and the hourly that is at 3 a.m., which is fine. Hide the day, 3 a.m. is fine on a bearish day. Look at the daily candles as well. You can see that's just high the day. We left behind this fair value up as well, and yeah, we broke past the low on the daily time frame. Nice to see. London session, we tapped into this bearish fair value up. Respected, dumps, break structure, and taps back into this fair value up. So you have a double 1 hour bearish fair value up getting respected. You have a sweep as well of previously hourly high. I personally took this trade. I just limited this fair value up SL above, which was true day. True day again is at 4 a.m. because it's an hour behind. So if I just mark out 4 a.m. open, true days up here. So yeah, that's nice to see. And then we just dumped and we edged this draw, which we had, I think it was last Monday's low. Yes, it was. So it was nice that all of this accumulation got swept. And then we kind of just reversed at New York Open because we was pretty much bearish all day from 3 a.m. New York Open reverses, just accumulates, sweeps this high, accumulation, pretty much nothing. New York session. But yeah, I would say the best time to trade, like the 10 a.m. Open's pretty clean, considering like it used to be 11 a.m. 11 a.m. used to be good, but you want to trade forward candle essentially 8 a.m. or 3 p.m. So yeah, this forward top big pretty small, so it just comes up to take that at 7 p.m. I think 7 p.m. was news as well, was it? No, it wasn't. There was a bunch of news at 12:30 at New York as well. So let's see have a look at what that did. Not much, to be honest with you. But yeah, that was a nice sweep. But this is pretty late, 5 p.m. Pretty late. PM session, you could have got this by maybe because of that nice draw there. But yeah, that's pretty much Thursday. London session, just really clean. I think we had a sweep here as well. And this is pretty early on. So 9:45, we had this 15-minute liquidity sweep. Even we broke structure on the 5-minute here. I think this liquidity sweep is quite nice. Purely because as soon as you did it, broke structure here. And then this is a beautiful inverse taps into invest, unrespected, and then just dumps to low the day. Again, you can get 200 points like that. Well, it depends where you enter, but you could easily get 200 points. So yeah, so London sessions on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday and Thursday were pretty good. Wednesday, you kind of selling off for nothing though, but that order block up here is pretty nice. This 1 hour order block, which got previously respected, and then OTA from this high. So yeah, also wicks showing rejection. So yeah, Friday, my favorite day. One of my favorite days was because, again, perfect Wyckoff on the hourly. Why is this a Wyckoff? Let's just go into the 15-minute. We have this huge move up, which is a buying overbought swing. And then we have accumulation all night. Price starts to move at 7 a.m. again. And price liquidates the buying climax, which is a purge. So BC, AR, ST, 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 secondary tests, and eventually a purge, high the day holding at 8:15. And then we just dump to the draws. So you could have called this, even if you enter on this beautiful 15-minute engulfing candle here. After seeing this purge, 15-minute engulfing candle, even if you entered late, let's just say 30 minutes after it happened, you get 3 RR at least. So yeah, I mean, it was Eid, so I know a lot of people weren't trading on Friday, but I think Friday was an amazing day. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We did actually reverse after taking in the this draw, and then the second draw was in, I think, the gap, and all this reversal was, I think, on the hourly. It was just hourly bullish fair value up, hourly order block. When you have highs like this getting swept, we swept 2 highs, tapped OTE. This OTE tap was nice as well alongside the purge. Not only that, I think we're seeing the hourly on the 30-minute. We had this big wick. Next, our 30-minute candle opens, rebalances the wick perfectly, and then dumps. So yeah, I think there was a few wicks that got rebalanced for the week, but that's what price does. It just rebalances. You can tell that's a sweep as well, and it comes perfectly in line with the rebalance. So whenever you see price sweep a high and come back to it, and it still respects, that means the high probably is going to hold. Sorry, this high is going to hold, and then yeah, it just dumps to low the day. Price just reversing this forward candle. If we look at it here, sorry, here, price comes up, taps into the 1 hour bearish fair value up, order block, inverse. I think it's perfectly in the middle of the inverse. Yes, it is. 12 a.m. Sorry, 12 p.m. No news either, and we just dump. But yeah, that was a big day. So yeah, 3 draws got hit, and levels held. Not a bad week. We are heavily bearish. I will remove my levels now and my lines. Let me just make sure everything's gone. Draws got hit, so we can remove that. There's a gap up here which I will delete because I don't think we're going to touch this week. Obviously, I'm recording this video quite late, so Monday has already opened, so, and it is a new day. So yeah, so we're coming into the last week of the month. There's a huge wick here. We also just tapped this bullish fair value up on the monthly. We did gap down on the weekly opening up and new weekly opening up NOG. So yeah, where are my draws? If we go into the weekly, we do have, oh sorry, the daily. I do want to target this gap. Once this gap gets filled, we can also just look for a level on the rebalance of this week. This fair value, yep, sure, why not? Level here at 21k. We're at 21, that's fine. I did say something in my Discord. Let me just have a quick look. 22,379.6. We're actually below that. Sure. But it's interesting because price gap below it, so it's fine. I won't have it as a level. But this would be a draw. I would also just put this as a draw, maybe. I just want to mark out. I do really like that we took out all these stops. High time frame, we did just accumulate. This is the manipulation down. I will put a level. I'm happy with this level. Put another one maybe at this low. Because that for our weekly, the weekly wick is not big enough for me. And then we could just actually move it a bit lower. So 20k, 20.8k, that's fine for level. Obviously I want this gap to get filled. Dump down to these. We have a low here, which I want to mark this out as maybe possibly a strong low. And if you just draw OTE from this strong low in line with the levels, which is nice. Maybe get an SMT with France or something like that. But yeah, draws for this week, pretty much just this draw. Once price just reverse, I want something like, just come for Friday's high. Once price just reverse, because I think Friday's high, we did leave the fair value up. You don't have to specifically tap the fair value up, I just want Friday's high. Even though, because obviously there was a Wyckoff. And I do want to mention the high here got retapped into that exact same 1 hour bearish fair value up on Thursday, which is interesting because this just shows selling pressure at 23.1k. So heavily bearish. I don't think it's a point having another draw. I just want that gap to get filled. Maybe even put another draw at the bottom of the gap. Best case scenario, I will mark it out on the 4 hour time frame. I want something like this. Fill the gap in, tap this, and go up. Yeah. Probably next month we're gonna start retracing up. Expect a bearish week again. Did gap down, showing sellers are in control. But that's pretty much it. These are my levels at 21 and 20.8. And these are my draws. I want this draw to get hit after we take these draws, of course. I am bearish first. And then we can start looking for a bounce towards the end of the month. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the DAX recap. Keep it clean and simple, and see you next week.